Well, greetings, everyone. Welcome to Between the Moment, helping you look for hope between all of life's moments. My name is Diamond, and I am so excited today. We are in season 4, and we have been looking at all different types of definitions of multiple things, redefining a lot in our personal lives, and debunking some myths. And today, we have another coffee conversation with a wonderful person in my life who I love personally and professionally respect. We have Miss Mikala Lewis from Lubbock, Texas of RE Studio. Woo woo. Welcome, welcome.
Hi, so good to be here.
So cute. I'm loving it. I actually wore my hoops in honor of you because
Oh, in honor of me. Oh, I love me some hoops.
yes, I was definitely stalking your page this morning, just like looking through everything. And I was like, you know what, these hoops, I'm going to channel my inner Mikala this morning.
Yes, yes, there we go.
So today's conversation, I know we've had just conversation on our own about what it means to care for ourselves and more than that, to invest in ourselves. So personal investment or investment of self, both of those phrases can go hand in hand. And today is all about that. And when I was really like being challenged with this topic, honestly, pretty personally, and then with people around me, your name definitely came to the top. And yeah, so enough of me talking. Mikala, first of all, tell us what you do. And then I'm sure our listeners and viewers will figure out why I connected this so quickly once you start sharing.
Yeah, so I am a licensed esthetician and I've been licensed since 2018. So I specialize in body waxing, specifically Brazilians and brows.
Mm.
So we're getting in there.
Yeah.
And I've been in business since 2019. So have been in it for a little bit. But yeah, I love what I do. I love it.
Yeah, I don't think I realized that you had only been going a year when the quarantine hit.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Yes.
My goodness, girl. So
Yeah.
really, whatever number it is, you said 3 years. It's more like 10.
I know it
More
feels like it. It feels
than
like it was such a challenge, such a hard time. And I had just opened. So I opened August 2019 and I was waxing from my living room. Waxing from my living room. And then I think it was like April in 2020 that next year, things like started to shut down. So only for a few months I was
wow,
open, then we had to close for a little bit.
wow.
So it was a challenging time, but it brought out a lot of good things. So
Yeah, yeah, I'm sure. I mean, we all have our 2020 and beyond stories, and but I think just like hearing you say that again, it's re-registering like all of what that means for you as a business owner,
mhm.
especially in the field of caring for yourself and skin, which is something that a lot of people, not just women, love, but they actually overlook and don't realize it's all how connected it is. I know you gave me a little pow pow when I came to you for your services. You're like, okay, Diamond, you got to do this, you got to do that. So I
Mhm.
can't imagine just that. That's wow.
Mhm.
And so tell us about family and all of that and all the backdrop of you growing in your business. What's that like for you?
Yeah, so I'm a mama bear. I've got a daughter, she's 8, and I've got twin boys. They're 1 years old. Oh my
Oh
goodness.
my gosh.
Yes. I'm a wife as well. Been married for 8 years. Um, and life is interesting. It's interesting with having a family and running a business and still trying to carve out the pieces of time for myself. But it's really it's good. It's good. Once I find like the I guess it's kind of like a reason. I'm like, I tell myself like, if I don't take care of myself, then I'm not going to be good for me, and I'm not going to be good for my family. So once I'm able to get my system going, like, hey, I gotta do this regardless of how I feel. I gotta go out and go to a coffee shop or go, to Target to just get some retail therapy to kind of debunk, and that way I can present myself well. So
Yeah. Yeah. I can hear all the husbands and brothers and people going, oh my God, did she just quote that Target is what is needed?
Target, I'm saying Target has magic,
It
okay?
really does.
It does something to
I
you.
do.
I remember that was like the first trip I went on after having my boys. And I wasn't even supposed to be driving yet, but I drove myself, no seatbelt,
Oh
because
my
I
God.
just was like, just like I gotta go. So yeah, Target was my first stop, and I was like breathing in the air. I was like, "Ooh, it smells like popcorn. Give me some Starbucks over there. Let me just do it," and it just healed.
That is so funny because it is so real. That's why it's funny. That's hilarious. Yeah. So with you I loved how you said that if you aren't able to take care of yourself, then you aren't able to show up for your family. Let's kind of backtrack a little bit. How would you define I know the topic is personal investment, but how would you define self-care? I feel like that's such a taboo word in our culture, and it's layered for different reasons. But how would you define specifically self-care?
I think self-care is intentionally carving out time for the purpose of self growth and for mental health. If I could put it in a word or put it into a sentence, I think it's the intentionality of it. And self-care looks different for everybody. It doesn't necessarily have to be connected to finances, about, spending money. It could just be, I'm going to do yoga this morning,
Yeah.
you know. But that's what I think self-care is.
Yeah, that growth component is a big one. It's not always, and not separate from comfort, but
Mhm.
it definitely is about, the growth. That's so good. So do you think self-care and self-investment are different, or are they the same? What do you think?
I think they are related. Um, I think they are slightly different. I think self-investment has a lot to do with what you choose to put your energy into, that's going to like help you. And I think about investment when it comes to business. I think about, okay, if I want to become the best waxer in my area, the best at Brazilian waxing, I have to master my craft and I have to master my skill. And so I have to put time in, put money in to train, to, know all the things.
Yeah.
So I think that is a form, that's what self-investment is. It's like, hey, I'm going to go to therapy for my mental health. I'm going to do something that allows me to really elevate my my skill, my mental health, or whatever that is. And so self-care, I think, has to just a lot to do with the personal journey of it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. It's so interesting. Like this conversation is really something that's almost trendy. And I mean, you could probably turn on buku people. Even thank God, people of color, minorities that are talking about this, which I am so grateful for personally. And now, like being in the space of really promoting conversation. However, in the same vein, just as something becomes popular, it can become watered down, and the reason become just I don't know, like this weird knockoff version of what the conversation is supposed to be about. And when you said I need to find a reason, that is like easy to have like this voice that make you feel guilty about that. But really what you're saying is I am caring for myself, yes, for myself, But then you said, so that I could serve my family and the people around me well. And it's just as much self-loving as much as it is loving to those around you. And I think the conversation around mental emotional health and rhythms is just, it's so necessary that, praise God that it's going everywhere, but that it would be something that people like really hold on to their definitions with a lot tighter. So that's so good. The reason, the growth. I told y'all, once you start talking, you'll see why I asked her to come to this episode. Definitely told you guys that. So with the self-care and the self-investment, what are ways for you personally? And you can like itemize them out, like professional, personal, or whatever, physical, mental, whatever. What are some specific things that are very important to you in this season of life? And I'm kind of throwing a curveball at you, but I think it'll be fun. So yeah, whatever you want to share, like what are some specific things for you in this season?
Okay, so for clarity, you're wanting to know how I'm investing in self-care for myself.
Yeah, in this season.
Okay, in this season. Oh, in this season, I am choosing to eat healthier.
Mm,
That is a big one because I love food.
mm,
I love food, but I'm
yeah,
also right. Like who doesn't even here? Who doesn't love food?
right.
But I'm also so I've been vegetarian for the past 6 years. So since 2017, like basically when I started esthetician school, I became vegetarian. But recently this year, I started eating fish again. Um, so, but like in this journey of when I became vegetarian, I felt so limited, like I couldn't really eat anything. And so it became fun for me to start discovering foods and things that I can make and stuff like that. And so it became really, I started becoming super healthy. Um, but recently, just over the course of like a year, like after having the boys, really being sick most of my pregnancy, and then now I'm like, okay, I can eat. So
Yeah.
I've just been eating all the cheese and all like the wrong things.
I love it.
So but I have made a conscious decision to take control over my health. And I think like we only have this one body, and I think that it's imperative that we take care of it in whatever form that is. So eating is number one. And then number two, I've been working out. Like I'll let me say this. I start with yoga first because that really like helps me with my mobility, um, especially because I'm mostly standing up all day. I'm waxing. It's very taxing on my body. So I have to make sure I'm stretching and that like my body is functioning okay, where I'm not sitting over here pulling a muscle in the middle of a wax.
Right. Yeah. That would be terrible.
That would be awful, right? Like, hold on, my hamstring. Oh my gosh. So,
That's funny.
yeah. So I have to stretch. Um, and then number three, I have been getting massages.
Yes.
And oh my gosh, when I tell you it's a game changer,
Right.
gosh, I struggle with like my sciatic nerve after having kids and stuff. So after I walk out of that massage, I feel like a new woman. Like I feel like I can conquer anything at this point. So I have been, yeah, and this is my first time actually getting like professional like massages consistently.
Yeah.
So, and then we said before, like sometimes I'm like, do I need to be spending money on this? Like, where can this money actually go to? Sometimes I try to talk myself out of it, but I'm like, no, like this, I deserve, I deserve space as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I've been intentional about those things.
I like that word space because of the hardworking nature. I mean, you and then your family, I already know. Like it's about, we go after it, we handle ours. And that's great. However, the deserving isn't always only. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to be condescending on anything, but it's the space. I don't think we think that just the space alone is something that we're worthy of. Like God literally made, when he created the atmosphere, the space for us to inhabit. This is before sin, this is before Genesis 3. And then allowing so many other things have details and then giving us dominion over it. Now, I mean, clearly different context, but that's very similar, that our God would be so orderly to give us space, and that would be a gift. And so I love that you said, I deserve space. That would be a good little mindful momentum right there. Tell yourself in the mirror, I deserve space.
Take it up. Take up the space. Yes.
Oh, I didn't draw attention. Now, if you're on YouTube, you'll be able to see this. If you are on the podcast, you won't be able to see this. You can definitely come look at the hoop vibes that are happening right now. But you gotta check out Mikala's shirt. Show me your shirt, girl.
Oh, yes.
Yes. Yes. Round of applause. Beautiful.
It's like my favorite word.
I love it. It says self-care for those that are listening.
There we go. Yeah.
So we kind of already said it all throughout our conversation thus far, but I really want to hear from you. And our BTM listeners, those who listen often, know that we definitely come from a Christian perspective, but we know that there's multiple people that may be listening in. We do have some international listeners as well. And the question I have is, what myth have you heard about self-investment or self-care that you would say, please stop believing this. Please stop believing this. What would that myth be? I love the thinking face.
Right. A myth about self-care, self-investment. One myth is that when it comes to the financial part of it, like maybe it's too expensive, that you could be spending your money on something else, on your kids or on something for the home. And I think another myth is maybe like, you don't deserve it, but I think that might come from more like negative self-talk than more of like a myth. What do you think?
Oh, you turned it back on me. Whoa. I like that. I respect it. Yeah. I think what you said, like I said, you've already kind of said it with the deserving of space. I think if I'm honest about myself personally, I think that's the negative self-talk that I talk myself out of. It's like, no, you need to. And then whoever my heroes are, I make them so big, like they didn't need space. And you know, every generation gets weaker and wiser. So there are some things that our parents and grandparents could do, but it doesn't mean that, you know, it was always mentally, emotionally best for them. But God kept them, and here we are generations later. So, you know, you kind of look at your heroes and go, well, they didn't take a break, or they didn't do this, you know, and then you start to tell yourself, well, then why do you need all this time? Or why do you need all that? Or want all that? Sometimes it's wants and sometimes it's both. Like simple as, like, I got my nails done with my daughter, and I was like really upset about it, because I was like, why am I getting my nails done? She asked me to. And I was like, well, certainly I don't have to. Like, I can just sit here. She's like, Mommy, I want you to be a part of the experience. For her, it was her birthday, but she wanted me to be a part. So just even that, it wasn't even that deep, but you know, I think what you said, like and then we as a people, and specifically as women, we just think we don't deserve it. Like, deserve, not always like I'm bad, I'm awful, as much as sometimes it's, you look at a person who doesn't want a specific service. So maybe somebody doesn't want to be waxed or doesn't want their nails done because they don't like it. Let's say they just don't like that. Then we're like, oh, well, then I shouldn't have that too. And it's like, better why? Miami little colloquialism here, better why? But yeah, yeah. Girl, you made me I had to think over here looking in the sky, working through it.
Love it. But I love what your daughter was saying. Like, I think it just, she recognized that you deserve it too, even though it's her birthday. She was like, I want you to be a part of this experience. And, like, I think that's so beautiful, especially when our children are as so innocent as they are. They say these little things to us that kind of remind us, like, you know what, you're right. Like, I do deserve this. And I appreciate you seeing that I'm worth that. And I'm
Mm,
worth this time, with you, or, whatever that looks like.
yeah.
So
That's a good way of putting that. I like that. This is so good. Man. Mikala, thank you so much for being here today. And I hope I mean, if you're watching, you've already seen me take a sip of my tea multiple times. You know, I'm all about the pause that we need to have. And there are usually mindful momentums on our episodes, which are just challenges for you to pause and then to move. But this episode, I feel like it's dripping with so many that you just probably need to go back and re-listen again. If you watched it visually on YouTube, but then now you need some time to just kind of re-listen to it again, do it in traffic, and then come home and just journal out some of these questions for yourself. And if you are a believer, don't disconnect this conversation from who you are as a Christian. Galatians 5:13 says, we use our freedom to serve one another. We don't just hoard it. And that's literally what our guest today is sharing. So thank you so much for just opening your life in multiple ways, hearing your perspective, and just your journey. And I'm really excited for what is to come. And you have to go to her IG profile and check her out, the waxing esthetician. I'd struggle with that word. It's like all the letters. I'm like,
it's too many syllables.
yeah. But yeah, waxing esthetician, you'll see her on IG. If you want booking information, location, details, there's even some great tips, like some skincare things, some preparatory things if you're looking to get services done by her. I have personally experienced it. You will leave educated, cared for. She holds a literal space for you, and then also a space for you to just be whoever you are while you're getting your service done, and you just walk out feeling great. So check her out if you're in the Lubbock area. And then last but not least, she also has a podcast. It's called The Waxing Table, and you can find those on multiple platforms. I know there's an upcoming season in October, right?
Yes, there is.
I'm excited. So check all of that out. It is worth your time. You'll see collab all over IG with my page. And of course, follow me here. You can check out stuff on my IG, Diamond U. There's more information, and season 4 will continue. So thank you again, Mikala.
Absolutely. It's been amazing. I love it.
All right, guys, till next time. Bye.